Heidi. I am starting my YouTube channel for my Appalachian Trail thru hike, which I am starting in March of 2018. That's just a little over 2 months around the corner. So I'm very anxious to get started. I pretty much have all of my gear, minus a few smaller things. So I thought I would go ahead and do a gear video or what's in my pack video for what I have starting. I fully expect a lot of this to change as I go throughout my trip. So I'm not really sure how great of a reference this is going to be for anyone, but in case you're curious to see what I'm carrying, what I'm going to have with me, and I think it'll be a great reference for me afterwards, or once I get to a certain point on my trip, to see what I started with and to see what I got rid of. So kind of doing this for a few different reasons, mostly to start the YouTube channel, to start figuring out how I'm going to edit these videos, how I'm going to film these videos, to get more comfortable sitting by myself talking to a camera, which is kind of awkward, and to just reassess what I have in my pack. I've done a few practice packs, like 2 or 3 times, where I'm just figuring out the best way to shove everything in there, going through every item individually, saying like, do I really need this? Can I get rid of this? Is this weight really necessary? So if anybody has any suggestions once I post this of things that really aren't necessary, or maybe some tools that I have that maybe have multi-purpose, so I can get rid of something else, I will by all means take that constructive criticism. But I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with my pack. So I have an Osprey Viva, which is a woman's fit pack. It's green. And this is what it looks like. It is a 65 liter. It's a bit larger probably than what I really need, but it's served me well. I've liked it. I've gotten several backpacking trips out of it. I do wish I had a slightly smaller one. I think that might help with me, forcing me to reduce what I'm carrying and cut my weight back, but I think this is going to work just fine for me. So it has a base compartment, which I will have my sleeping bag in, a main area in here. Hi Junie. This is Junie. Where I will keep most of my stuff, my tent, my pillow, sleeping pad, clothes, food bag. I have a brain, which I'll keep a few other things in. As far as my hip pockets are concerned, so these will be right at my hips and easily accessible. I have some mace. Don't worry, Mom, or whoever else is concerned. I'm carrying some form of a weapon. I've got some chapstick. I will have my pocket knife in here, some snacks, and my phone. As well as my headlamp, so that is easily accessible when it starts to get dark. I do have some side pockets for water bottles, but what I've noticed throughout using this so far is that you cannot access, I can pull the water bottle out, but I can't for the life of me get it back in without taking my whole pack off. And I don't want to have to take my pack off every time I get water. To make sure that I'm drinking enough water, I have purchased this was recommended to me from one of the Facebook groups that I'm on. His name is Justin. He makes these himself, and it just straps to the front pack. So my water bottle is going to be in here, and I'll be able to drink water pretty consistently. I do have this small thermometer and compass. I don't really know how much use the compass is going to be. The thermometer, I like to know the temperature. So that's pretty much it for my pack. So I'm going to move on to my clothes now. I'm still kind of working through this, trying to figure out what I'm taking, what I'm not taking. So to start, underneath, I got a sports bra. I'm only bringing one sports bra. I do have underwear. I don't think I have them in this pile. I'm going to be carrying 2 pairs of underwear. We'll see how that goes. I have a black short sleeve, just athletic tank from TJ Maxx or somewhere, and some black shorts, running shorts that have like the liner on the inside, because that really helps prevent chafing. Not that I normally have too much of an issue with that, but I certainly don't want an issue with that. For the cooler months, I'm going to be having, I have this long sleeve hooded, and it has thumb holes, and it is fleece lined on the inside. I will probably send it home during the warmest months. I have a buff. So that is just like a bandana to keep my hair out of my face and ears warm. Also, for the cooler months, I do have just some regular fleece lined gray leggings. So these are just like from TJ Maxx or Walmart or something. So I might be wearing these under my shorts for a little while and sending them home eventually. I know a lot of times, like I've hiked in 30-degree weather maybe in shorts, and it's fine. but I've also hiked in like 19-degree weather and it's like not so fine. So I do want to have that extra layer. And then I also have this, my puffy coat. So this is, I just got a good deal on this online, watching some sales. So it is a Bassin range. It doesn't have a hood. That's something that I didn't think of when I was shopping, and then afterwards watched some other people's videos and thought that might be a good idea. But my long sleeve shirt does have a hood, so that should be fine. For rain gear, I do have this Frog Tog. It is certainly not the most high-tech gear, but from what I've heard, reading reviews after review after review, is that nothing is really waterproof. Like, from what it sounds like, you're going to be wet regardless, so I didn't want to invest too much in that, so sounds like it'll keep me as dry as the other ones. The reviews that I've heard of these is that they do tear easily. You just patch them up with some duct tape, and I think it was $20. So I'd rather like have this and maybe have to replace it once or twice than have to cough up $400 on a really nice rain jacket. I also have some gloves. These are Black Diamond gloves. Again, just watching sales online on websites like Sierra Trading Post and Steep and Cheap and stuff like that. They have the touch screen fingers so that I can still kind of use my phone. I've been getting a lot of use out of them already, saying that it's January. I've been biking to work, so they've been good so far. And then as far as camp is concerned, these clothes I'm sure will get wet often, and you don't want to be at camp with wet clothes. I might have to put them on wet the next morning, but at camp I want to have dry clothes. So in the colder months, so for March and maybe part of April, maybe at the end, if I make it to Maine, I have some base layers. So this is just from Academy, but I've worn it in relatively cold weather camping, and it seems to work pretty well. Just like a waffle, probably merino wool base layer top. And I do still need to buy pants. I had a pair that I got, but it was the wrong size, and they got a hole in them. So I do need to buy that still. And then for the cooler months, or for underneath my base layer, I was looking for something not tight. I feel like I'm going to be wearing with the compression shorts and the shorts and the leggings and all of that. I want to make sure that I'm wearing something looser that all of my body can breathe. So I found that like women's pajama shorts and stuff are just really short, but I do have some boxers, so I'll be wearing boxers at night along with just like a tank top, just so that I have something different. They are cotton, but I'm not going to be sweating, and hopefully I'm not going to be getting rained on at camp. I have some thicker merino wool, darn tough socks. They're guaranteed for life, so if they get a hole in them, I should be able to replace them, but from what it sounds like, they don't get holes. And then I also have some farm to feet socks that a really kind girl named Kimberly, who works at the outdoor store, Great Outdoor Provisions in Charlotte. She's been helping me a lot with a lot of my gear. She was the first woman to yo-yo hike the Mountains to Sea Trail in North Carolina. So she was sponsored by Farm to Feet, and these are her socks. Not her socks that she wore, but her design or whatever. So she gave these to me as a Christmas present and a Bon Voyage present. So I was really excited about them, and I've been wearing them around a lot, and they're super cozy. And I have another pair of darn tufts, but they are lost in my laundry basket somewhere. So 3 pairs, 2 for hiking. The thicker darn tufts I'll probably try to wear exclusively at camp. We'll see. Next I'll walk you through my toiletry bag. So I have a bandana. I actually have several bandanas, and I'm sure maybe I'll be able to cut down, but I feel like I want one to blow my nose, one as a pee rag, and then one as a body rag, and then the pack towel as just something additional. So I do feel like it's probably excessive, and once I'm out there I'll figure out like which one I can eliminate, but I don't want to use the same thing that I'm using for the bathroom to clean myself at the end of the night, and I don't want to use my like snot rag to. So anyways, I have one specifically in my toiletry bag. Maybe I'll get rid of it, we'll see. So I have some ibuprofen. Some advice I got recently was maybe to replace this with Midol, because it does the same thing, reduces swelling, reduces pain, but also has caffeine. The symptoms that Midol targets is going to be the same symptoms you're experiencing regardless of whether or not you're on your period, or either regardless of whether or not you're a woman. So I might try that. And I do have a few things with Benadryl as well. I'm not really allergic to anything that I know of, but I don't want to find out and not be prepared. contact solution, and a contact case in here somewhere. A very small thing of sunscreen. I never brought sunscreen camping, but people say you need it, so I'm bringing it. A small thing of toothpaste, and a toothbrush. It has a little case on it, and my mom got a kick out of this. I have cut off the handle. That's generally a pretty popular thing that backpackers do. Just any weight that you don't really need, you get rid of. So I've cut off the handle. It fits in the bag better, and that's, I don't know what, like an ounce, but it adds up. I do have some soap papers. So basically this is just Dr. Bronner's absorbed into water-soluble paper. So this is like maybe 20 papers right here, and it's still paper thin, and the paper dissolves, so I can just put some water on it and get a little bit of suds out just to clean my hands. Most people don't bring soap, but I felt like this was very, very light, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe it's a good idea, maybe I don't use it at all and send it home. I have a travel brush, so pops out like that, and it has a mirror. And a few extra hair ties, contact case, dental floss. I have a few feminine hygiene products, but for the most part and for years I've been using a Diva cup. I will not get into that. If you have questions, Google it. But that's going to be my main way of taking care of that while I'm on the trail. Some Band-Aids, wet wipes, nail clippers, and these are bleach tablets. This is not something I ever really hear other hikers talk about or do, so if you have any feedback for me on this, I will definitely take it. But my Sawyer filter, the instructions say that you're supposed to clean it every so many miles, and you can backwash it, which is great and works, but the instructions specifically say that every so many gallons that you filter, it should be cleaned out with bleach. So I have found these like bleach tablets, these small ones, so just put the bleach, let it dissolve in the water, and then squirt it through, and then squirt clean water through, obviously, to get all of the chemicals out. I don't really hear about other hikers doing that, so maybe it's not actually necessary, but I really don't want to mess with my water source, and I could probably use a quarter of a tablet each time I do it, so I don't really think that that's that big of a deal. And then finally, I have a small needle taped in some paper so I don't lose it, which I can use the dental floss as thread, so that's an example of some things that are multi-purpose. And that's it for my toiletry bag. A few things that I don't have in here though. I don't have lotion yet. I just need to find a small tiny tube of lotion. I took my dog for a walk this morning and came back and my face felt like it was gonna just fall off. My skin was so dry. So just a little bit for my hands and face. Another thing I don't have that I would probably keep in here is earplugs. I don't want other people feeling guilty for snoring and feeling like they have to sleep away from the shelters because they snore, and I don't want to be cranky with them in the morning when I haven't slept all night because they were snoring. I'm leaving in March from Springer Mountain, and there's going to be a billion people out there, especially to start. And you're in close quarters, you're camping around all of these people, and you always hear people getting grumpy because these people are too loud, or they're snoring, or their pads are squeaking and stuff, so just want to be able to cancel out that noise. So next I have my electronics bag. I have a Sea to Summit dry bag, which I will keep my Anchor. So this is a portable charger. I'll charge it when I get into town, and then it'll hold, I guess it holds about 3 charges for your phone, so then I can charge my phone while I'm hiking. And then I have my iPhone charger. I have headphones, which are at work, so they're not here. I want to get the box that I'll use to charge my phone when I get into town. I want one with 2 USB ports so I can charge my portable charger and my phone just using one outlet rather than taking up 2 outlets or having to wait. And that's pretty much it. So these dry bags, they're a waterproof bag. Squeeze the air out of it, and then you can roll it and condense it down really small. So next I have my paper products, so I'm just going to keep in a Ziploc baggie. I have my Appalachian Trail guidebook, AWOL's guidebook. It is the 2016 version, so it's 2 years out of date. I'm just going to wing it and hope that most of the things are the same, and I'll be around enough other people who will probably have the most updated one. So as I go, this just kind of breaks down your mileage and what's at what point. So, at this mile you'll pass a waterfall, at this mile you'll walk under power lines. So it kind of keeps you on track, and it gives information on the towns that you're going through and how you can get there, shuttle services to get in. It gives a great breakdown of what's going on in the town, so which places, when they're open, when they're closed, which ones are dog friendly, hiker discounts at some. So this is a really good resource. And as I go, I'll tear out the pages. So after, I've gotten through these, this 10 miles, I'll tear that page out and just burn it or trash it. So the weight will get reduced as I go. I do also have a sketchbook. This might not be the one that I bring. This is just a basic moleskin. I might be looking for something slightly more sturdier. I'm still trying to figure that out. Is the hardback worth the weight, or should I get just a paperback and deal with the pages crinkling? We'll see. I am an artist. I'm going to be keeping a sketchbook. I'm hoping that I can really keep up with that. I've always been really bad at keeping journals, but a little bit better at keeping sketchbooks, and I think that I could really create just like an awesome sketchbook when this journey's done, with all the different, landscapes I'm seeing or the people I'm meeting, and I'll also use it to kind of keep track of some slight journaling from every now and then. I also want to keep track of trail angels, so it just sounds like there's constantly people jumping to help these thru hikers and bringing them food and letting them stay in their house. And my mama taught me to write thank you cards, so I will be keeping track of the people who've really helped me out, and I already have a few people that I just, super thankful for the support that they've given me so far. So I want to keep track of that so I can send thank you cards at the end. I have a pencil, pen, and paintbrush, and then the only thing I don't have yet is a set of watercolors or gouache paint. Hopefully find a really lightweight way of carrying around just some stuff to add some color to these pages. I'll have a smaller Ziploc bag, and it's going to have my debit card, my credit card, and some cash, and then something that really only recently occurred to me, which is kind of scary, but I do need my health insurance card and my car insurance card in case I need to rent a car to get back home at any point throughout the trail. So I'm glad that that occurred to me, because it just hadn't for months, and then I added it to my list kind of recently. I was like, oh, thank God I remembered that, because I'd really be up the creek without a paddle if I needed either of those while I was out there. So jumping back to my clothes for just a second, I do have a dry bag that I can fit pretty much all of my clothes except for like one outfit that I would be wearing in here, and I'll keep my rain jacket in the mesh pocket on the back of my pack so that it's easily accessible if it starts to rain. And this bag is my pack cover, so this will also be in the mesh pocket on the back of my pack. If it starts to rain, you just pull it out, and it's essentially a giant shower cap for my pack, and it's a nice blaze orange, so if I don't think it'll be hunting season anymore, but if I need some orange, I'll have this as well. This was just a cheaper one from Amazon. It's held up pretty well. I've done, several miles in the pouring rain on balds, where I definitely got soaked, and it kept my pack dry for the most part. Again, from the reviews that I was reading, it sounds like waterproof is not really a thing. So people who are still buying the most expensive ones were getting mad because parts of their pack were getting wet, and it sounds like that's going to happen regardless, so I just got a cheap one. And I'm just keeping all of my really important things in dry bags within my pack so I don't have to worry about them getting wet in case this pack cover does not do a perfect job of keeping my pack dry. In the brain compartment of my pack, that top bit, it's pretty easily accessible. I can, if I really try, reach it without even taking my pack off. So that's where I'm going to keep my book and my sketchbook. I'll also have some cord, so this will be for hanging my bear bag at the end of the night. This is just a random bag of trail mix, but some form of snack, so it's a little bit easier to get into, and I don't have to unbutton all of the clips and stuff to get into the main packet if I just want a little bit of a snack as I'm going. Toilet paper. So moving on to the main compartment of my pack, I have a Nemo Hornet one-person tent. It's pretty small, but I am 5'5", so it doesn't really matter. I've slept in it. It is great. I love it already, and I'm still getting better at setting it up. I mean, I can do it, no problem, but it takes me a minute, so I need to practice that a little bit more. And I also have a tent footprint. Shouldn't come with tent. It should just come with a tent, so I don't have to buy an extra thing. So here's the tent footprint, and it'll go underneath, and that's just an extra layer of protection between the ground and the rocks. And it's waterproof, so it's supposed to help with the rain. I have slept in the tent in the rain. The slight drizzle, had a friend's wedding actually, and it held up really well. So I'm hoping it will continue to. This is a pillow from, I think it's Thermarest, so it kind of condenses into itself, and then I can pull it out, and it's this self-inflating foam. So this looks really floppy right now, but as it kind of gets activated, it does begin to inflate on its own. And I like this pillow, it works really well, and it is pretty light, but it takes up a lot of space in my pack, and if it gets wet, I feel like it'll just be entirely useless. So I do want to replace this with an inflatable pillow. I don't really know if it's going to weigh any more or any less, but imagine if anything will weigh less, it'll be more waterproof and it'll take up less space in my pack. So I'll pull this back out once it's entirely inflated. It does work really well. A lot of hikers do use this, but I want to replace it if I can. This is going to be my sleeping pad, so it condenses into about this size, but it's inflatable, it'll blow up, and I need to use it. While it's really cold out this week, I probably am gonna sleep in my backyard at one point. So I can test out, because this is gonna be insulated, and then I have my sleeping bag and sleeping bag liner, which I'll touch on in a second, in my tent. I think with all of that, it's gonna be really warm and really cozy, so I'm excited to give this a shot. But that's gonna be in the main compartment of my pack as well. And then moving on to my cook system. This is my stove, Snow Peak. So it's just this big, it's really quite tiny, and then I'll have a canister of fuel, which I don't currently have any. I used up the last can that I had. And it just screws on the top, so the canister is about this big. And then I can boil water, just light it with a lighter. So I need to find a way to kind of hold on to it, but it's pretty tiny. And then this is a titanium sport. I got one with a hook on the end so that I can remove the lid of my cook pot without having to like find a bandana to use as an oven mitt. My cook pot is from Academy as well. It is the Stanley one. It's worked fine for me so far. Obviously it's been a bit used. So it has this lid that goes on it. It has measuring niches in the side so that I can measure out how much water or whatever that I would need. And for the most part, I'll just boil the water in here. And what I have been doing is just like adding my food in here, and then you stir it up and you eat it straight out of the pot. But then since I've kind of figured this system out, I see a lot of people will only use this to boil the water and then pour it in, you know, like a Ziploc baggie with their food, and then you don't have to do dishes, which also sounds nice, so I might convert to that. But if I do keep using it the way that I use it, I'll boil the water in here, and then I have this koozie that is made out of the sort of bubble wrap reflective material that people put in their windshields. So I can place it in here. So I use the fuel to boil the water, but rather than letting it sit on the stove for another 10 minutes for the water to keep boiling and the food to cook, I can just put it in here and it'll insulate the heat, so that way I don't have to use as much fuel. And then this is where I can use the spork to take the lid off without it being too hot. I'll have one lighter or two, and then I do have this little pop-out cup. I don't really need it. I'll probably just bring it and then toss it if I see that I'm not using it, but I think it might be nice to have like your coffee and your oatmeal in the morning at the same time, or if I want to cook in a separate thing. We'll just see. It's pretty light, so I'll start off with that. The other thing I'll have in my main compartment is my chacos, and I get hell for that. So they are kind of heavy, but I love them and I love walking around in them. I've hiked like full days on pretty rocky terrain when it's rained, and it's great because then I have dry shoes the next day. My trail runners are going to be dry, or these will be dry because they dry out really quickly. I hate putting on wet shoes, and it might happen regardless of me using my chacos or not to hike, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a shot wearing these and my trail runners, and going back and forth in between the two, and then these will also be my camp shoes. So whenever I take a lunch break or whenever I'm setting up camp, to switch out of my hiking shoes and into these so that my feet can breathe and my socks can dry out and all of that. On that note, I didn't talk about this during my clothes, but these are the shoes I'm going to be starting with. They're Las Sportivas. They're kind of a mix, they seem to me, between a trail runner and a hiking shoe. So they have like a toe guard. That's the first place that I bust out my regular shoes. If I wear them down, is my toe wears down the fabric in the front. So that was nice to me, and they've got a really thick sole with some nice tread, and they're blue. I think they're too small for me already, so they fit me fine, but everybody says your feet tend to grow when you're walking on them for hours and hours every day, so I will see how they go. I got them from REI, so I'm not really sure what the replacement policy would be if they don't fit me correctly. But I think I'll start in these and then just see if I lose a toenail, then I guess I'll buy bigger ones. But they're super comfortable, no blisters yet, but I mean, I haven't really done more than, you know, like a 4-day trip in them with not even that high of mileage, so we'll see. So then for food, I do have another dry bag for my food, and this one is a lot thicker and a lot sturdier. So if it gets caught on a branch, I feel like the Sea to Summit ones I have might rip, and this one is way sturdier, a little bit heavier, but I think it's gonna be fine. Another cheap one from Amazon has the zipper pocket in the front. Zipper pocket is not waterproof. Zipper pockets are never gonna be waterproof. That's gonna be for things that don't matter if they get wet, I suppose. So this will also be my bear bag, so I'll keep all my food in here and roll it up just like the other ones, and then hang it in a tree so that bears don't smell it in my tent with me and think that I am food. And then the last thing that I have is my sleeping bag. So this is my North Face. It's a North Face 20 degree mummy sleeping bag. It's a women's fit, so it's a smaller fit. So it's for people up to 5'6". I'm 5'5", so I only just fit in it. So I figured that's, you know, this much or however much of a sleeping bag that I'm not carrying. So I was specifically looking for a shorter one because I am shorter. I knew I could get away with it. Also, the last sleeping bag that I had, it was a unisex. It was so, I think, you know, 7-foot tall person could have fit in that thing. So I had like 2 feet of space underneath my feet. It was just cold air down there. My feet were always freezing, and I just couldn't get my body heat to go down there. It would just get lost in that extra space. So with this one, if anything, my feet are too hot, which never ever happens to me. It doesn't have a zipper at the feet to kind of like open up the bottom and let them air out. So hopefully they're not going to be too hot. It has kept me very warm, and I've really liked it. I will not keep it in this bag. I'm just keeping it in here for the time being, but I have this compression bag. So it condenses, I can put it in here, and it'll condense to about like the size of a football. Like it's really, really small. I just don't want to compress the down too much because it might not fluff up, back up all of the way. So I'm keeping it in here for the time being. This is another Sea to Summit compression bag that I'll be keeping it in when I'm hiking, and it is waterproof as well. And then my Christmas present for my sister very generously was a Sea to Summit sleeping bag liner. So it's a 20 degree bag, which means it'll keep me alive, maybe not necessarily comfortable, but alive up to 20 degrees outside. But this adds about maybe 8 degrees to that. So just an extra layer of warmth, and if I have some random warm nights, I can pull it out and sleep just in the liner, which is essentially just a sheet on top of the bag if it gets really warm, and it keeps the bag cleaner. It's a down sleeping bag. It's going to be more difficult to clean. I can wash it, but I can't dry it, so I'd have to air dry it, and it takes a while to dry. So when I'm going through towns and doing my laundry, it'll be easier to just wash the liner. Last few things that I didn't mention, and then I'm done, I promise. This is a stake. I bought some additional stakes to go with my tent in case any break or I lose them, and they're all red, so they're going to be a little bit easier to find. And then this one is like a snow stake, I think is what it's called. So it'll work as a stake, but it'll also work as a trowel. So I'll keep this in my back pocket so I can dig cat holes if I need to, so just multi-function. This is the pack towel that I didn't mention earlier, so it's pretty tiny, and then it comes out to be larger. Hand sanitizer I'll also keep in the hip pockets for easy access after using the bathroom. These are the other bandanas that I'll have tied to the back of my pack. One as a pee rag, one as a like a hanky. And then this is my Sawyer squeeze. I think that's everything though now. Oh, I'll show you. So already my pillow's gotten a lot fluffier. But if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any criticisms or any advice, anything that I forgot, anything that you think I can get rid of, please tell me. I'd love to hear it. Another thing too, this is my knife. I have a Swiss Army knife. I want to replace it because it's pretty heavy. So to one that just has the blade, because I don't think I'm really going to need all these extra functions. But that's all. I look forward to sharing this experience and this journey with you. I really hope that you stick with me through this channel. Give me comments, give me support. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.